This box once tailed a chugger-chugger. Now it's just off track. Listen to the creatures of the night. This corner of the world is called BRICKTOWN. That there's SUBNAUTICA station. Goop flounders around in there. Nothing like a walk in the woods. Whatever you do it right, or don't do it at all. Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He recalls you wouldn't put in the time required to learn how to swim. He bets you regret that now. Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again. He understands you've returned to face Lupa-Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He thinks that's the right thing to do. It's only when you have forgiven that you'll find peace.
Light instantly banishes dark.
The dark strikes back.
That's not that dark, more like long shadows.
The shadows are growing longer again.
We'll beat them back.
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Best to stick close to the shore then, where the goo isn't so deep. That's like being close to your friends who can help when things go wrong. Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Wishes you hadn't done so much to make the goo even gooier. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Claims he didn't say that. Out loud. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the SUBNAUTICA station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the porky puff. You're lucky that way. There's still cargo left on the shores from before the apocalypse. His best guess is a power tanker hit a reef and went under. No one's going to see you coming in the dark. Odd things lurk in the darkest parts of the underworld. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Covers the land. finding things both here and there. Stay away from that biohazard. You'll want to wash yourself off for a month. Toxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the rain and contaminate both the groundwater and open surf. The long-lasting effect this had on the evolution of wildlife was, as we know now, the only reason we came to exist. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. This is an epic already. How it ends is up to you. He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There's debris floating around on the surf that might be blocking your path or needs to be towed. That means you'll need a device so you can get it out of your way. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks, squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the SURFIPELAGO and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He only knows what's visible to the naked eye. Gulp is not much of a babbler and mostly keeps to himself and his drink. Welcome to the SURFIPELAGO, where the horizon rests on the surfy goo. You're poking around Hockbur, a prime village. The sun's a long ways away. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. Let's see. Ja. Glad you ran into Out of Date. Heard he lives in a cave beneath the Tree of Life. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Says it's both everything you could want and never enough. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good? Bad? Not really sure. But it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wants to know if he could point you towards something fun to drink, so that you could share with the tipsy tipster. You sure look like you could use a drink. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, that's the point. But you can't stop trying new ones, or life gets dull. Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you take care of yourself first instead of trying to swallow too much. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The glugmocker, nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportional to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Says that's what gives your internals such a great glow. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the SURFIPELAGO's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching pippies flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Thinks you're right. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. Had enough of that? Your destiny waits on the path you'll take to avoid it. That's shut and good. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Bristles like you need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. This is a smoother ride than you think. That's some good e-waste there. Ah, plastic scrap like that always comes in handy. So many creatures doing so many things during the day. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Googlide. He seems happy to talk. Says there's an interesting place nearby that no one knows about, but doesn't really want to talk about it right now. Says there's no reason to let you in on where it is. Says there's no reason to make threats. Would have told you about it sooner or later. It's not far from here. Want to stop that monster? You're running out of time. Says talking to you was interesting. He seems happy to talk. Says you're... Let's see. It's so warm here. Gulp says he'll bibble anything once, as long as it's drinkalicious, even rocket fuel. He once mixed up some tankers and drank that. It was a real lift-off. That leads him to the bottom of that particular bottle, radium syrup. If only he could find a tanker truck to empty. He's not in a state to go looking, so he's counting on you to help. Go find him a tanker truck and bring back some of that precious radium syrup. Please. Says they might be good for other things, but not for anything better than adding zing to your drink.
Take that light!
Really, you ought to use your head instead of your gut.
See? The darkness lets you get away with anything.
Just remember, you can always find light in the dark.
Dark! when you already know you're right.
And the open goo before you. Sometimes you've got to paddle on your own. This gutway has centuries of old waste. It really is a different world underground. Close encounter. Bullseye. Wow. Flex those smart muscles and open the hatch. That should be enough glow juice for two. Keep hauling yourself into the air. Wonder what's up there. What with the Lupin scratching at every door, wishes they could talk to friends who live far away. There's so much to say, but so little time left. There's a pling-plong booth you might be able to fix up to help with that. Says some are inside, some are outside, and easier to spot. Just got to look. The pling-plong booth's not around here, but it's big. Can't miss it. Once you find it, see if you can get it wired up for talk time again. Maybe then they can speak with their faraway friends again. Says you'd be doing a world of good. Says the tribe Sifu sent them here to help defend against the rival tribe that's been terrorizing their village. Isn't sure how long the village will last if it continues. As if the plague ruining the land and destroying the crops wasn't enough to bring the village to its knees already. It's troubling that the rivals believe their reign of terror is actually going to lead to a better world. The Sifu asked you to help, and that's what you must do. Happy to have someone as tough as you ready to help raise everything to the ground. Says you'll meet again. The Sifu asked you to help, and that's what you must do. Says you should take it easy. Ah, the freedom of the open surf. Gulp says he wants to take you with him on a super funny happy slide. Sharing is caring, and one drink for two is just right. Gulp says seeing your face is like seeing his own reflection at the bottom of a glass. It never gets old. He's been looking forward to a rendezvous, and it's on you to make it happen. There's even a chance the syrup is more intoxicating now from being aged in a radiated tanker. He's sure there are even more tanker trucks with radium syrup out there waiting to be emptied. Blesses your heart for doing your part. Cheers when you're here.
Come toward the light.
Slow down. Why would you rush in?
When you see what you want, why wait?
Well, what about being careful?
Puh! Poppycock! Full speed ahead!
Gulp says drinking shouldn't keep you from thinking. He wonders what's on your mind. Says you'll meet again. Gulp thanks you, says a drink or two won't do any harm. He refuses to drink alone. You're his friend now. Gulp says he just can't get enough of that crunky syrup. It's so refreshing. Don't you agree? He really appreciated that you shared a drink with him. You took a risk and deserve a reward. So he intends to keep the promise he gave you when you first met. He's got a few things, you see, that no one else has. Claims to understand the alchemy of drinks. Lots to sample and savor. Gulp says he's heard a juicy rumor that you found an ark. He wonders what kind of drinks that might inspire. Figures that's inspiration enough for a whole raft of drinks. Hard to know what you'd do with an ark if the world survives, but maybe that's why it's still here, right? Claims he's ready to toast your attempt to put an end to all this. What better way to go? Wants to know if you might want a master blender along on your ark trip.
So what we have here is someone looking for a way out if everything fails. There's a seat open on the Ark, but why would you want this company?
I'm so glad you chose that. We're born alone, we live alone, so let's not meet the end on our own.
We are better off on our own alone. Everyone else are just means to an end.
Being alone is not the same thing as being lonely. And now we don't have to be lonely. It'll all work out in the end.
The end must justify the means. So let's hope the Ark is strong enough to carry us all into the future.
Cannot believe you chose him to go along. Says he's going to come up with a glorious new drink for your trip. It's hard to understand the guzzle, but it's something about flip-flop the flip-flops and not getting sauced. Fair enough, or promises he'll... It's hard to wonders if Lupin was the only thing that happened to ruin your life. Figures you're smart enough to leave the world alone. So, says you covered the important things already. Hold on tight. The surf is wider than any road. The tree's going to bleed death from its roots if you keep taking her for granted. Heroes make for the best stories. It's up to you if you want to be one. It's an undersurfer, all alone without anyone in it. Yet. That might come in handy.